The DOJ is going after a crypto exchange, and Brad Garlinghouse calls the SEC embarrassing. And I know you're tuning in for the lead story, or the number one story, OnlyFans. Guess what? Starlet made a ton of money selling her NFTs. All today on OG Crypto and NFTs. Welcome everyone. My name is Troy, and every day we go over the latest news in digital assets as well as non-fungible tokens or NFTs. Now, before we jump into all of that, and yes, I know you want to check her out, I get it, but Brad Garlinghouse has a lot more to say than just what she has to show. All right, hit that subscribe button. Boom, 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 boom. All right, before we jump into Davos and the World Economic Forum and everybody else, let's go check out what's happening with Digital Currency Group. Yes, we've talked about them for the past 2 or 3 weeks. We said that they were really insolvent, but Barry Silbert, the CEO of the DCG, was holding everything off, thinking he can get away with it. But since now the Department of Justice has gone after him as well as the SEC, then we're seeing that his lending side, which is Genesis, and that his big fund, his big Bitcoin fund, Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, are all kind of teetering here. We're seeing that he now might begin soon, the bankruptcy proceedings on Genesis. And it looks like he will be one of the bigger people to fall. I mean, he's probably bigger than Three Arrows Capital, Celsius, Voyager, BlockFi. This guy was huge. He took several different punches. He took the big, huge punch from Three Arrows Capital and Celsius that crippled him, but he was able to find funding for Genesis. Then, of course, FTX gave him really the knockout blow, and he's been against the ropes now for a while, but really he's been knocked out against the ropes, and that's what now he's being forced. It says here the crypto lending unit of DCG could soon file as soon as this week. Turmoil left Barry Silbert in a public battle with the Winklevoss twins. That is Gemini, because a lot of Gemini's customers' funds were sitting on Genesis, and they made sure Genesis stopped allowing withdrawals. And once they stopped allowing withdrawals, we knew it was all over. That happens every single time. But the Winklevoss is just, they're in so much problems now because now they can't get their clients' money back. The Department of Justice and the SEC is going after them as well. It's just a complete mess. We need to untangle this before we really can take a big step forward in the crypto industry and get out of the bear market. Next, Department of Justice just went after Bitzlato, crypto founder, charged with $700 million of financial crimes. Guys, I actually predicted that this morning when I heard the DOJ was going after somebody that were going to announce in an hour. I thought they were going after Binance. Binance is deeper pockets, so there's going to be a bigger fight there with Binance, but let's go knock off these little guys first. So Bitzlato, crypto founders charged. We're going to see. This is by the way, I don't know if this is politically motivated or not, but that's a Russian founder on here. So, I don't know if this has the federal government's trying to make a point here by going after them, because literally there's probably another dozen exchanges that have issues as well. But we're seeing it happen in real time, Department of Justice, because the SEC can't do their job. Next. All right, talk about the SEC and egg boy, Mr. Gary Gensler in Davos 2023. Headline on CNBC, Ripple CEO is optimistic about crypto firm will get a ruling on the XRP lawsuit soon, slams embarrassing SEC. And he makes a point not so much about, his lawsuit, but about how many times Gary Gensler's been involved in companies that have really fallen apart. We all know at the CTFC, the company that he had been formerly involved with, then at the time was crumbling. He had to step away from the CFTC because he was considerably involved or connected to it. Now, of course, he's met with Sam Bankman-Fried many, many times. He won't even publish his calendar anymore, which he's supposed to, which is now becoming very controversial. And we're finding out that there could be some money exchange there as well. Could be a lot of fraud in the SEC. This is Madoff level fraud, meaning that Madoff hung around the SEC, made friends over there. Nobody really wanted to investigate him. And now exact same thing happened with FTX and Gary Gensler. But the problem is that Gary Gensler and the SEC, who told everyone how bad crypto was meeting with a offshore company. He wouldn't even meet with the 75,000 people, investors, United States investors that Ripple had that was represented by John Deaton. He refused to meet with them, but he'll meet with offshore companies that have nothing to do with the United States, quote unquote, and then have this party with them, and all of a sudden they're a complete fraud, and he's like, oh, now I'm going after them. Total joke. But let's go listen to what Brad Garlinghouse said in Davos this week. This is on CNBC. This just happened. Roll them.
We have always said that we would love to settle, but it requires one very, very, very important thing, and that is that on a go-forward basis, it's clear that XRP is not a security. The SEC and Gary Gensler has very outwardly said he views almost all crypto as a security, and so that leaves very little space in a Venn diagram for settlement. The case is now fully briefed in front of the judge, and judges take however long the judges will take. We're optimistic that this will certainly be resolved in 2023 and maybe the first half. So we'll see how it plays out from here. But I feel very good about where we are relative to the law and the facts.
So are you going to wait for the judge to come out with a decision on this one?
I'm very optimistic, and I think absent some significant change in posture from the SEC, I can't imagine that we won't have resolution from the judge. I also will point out, and I've certainly something I've heard here in Davos repeatedly, is how important this is, not just to how Ripple it goes forward, but also really the whole crypto industry in the United States. And I keep reminding people that outside the United States, crypto is still thriving, Ripple is still thriving, and we should make sure we're continuing to engage non-US regulators as well. I met personally with the SEC 3 times. Not once he comes to you and says, hey, help me understand the rules, and I make sure we're following the rules, help them understand the rules. I met personally with the SEC 3 times. Not once in those meetings did the SEC ever say to me, hey, and by the way, we're totally transparent about what we're doing. Not once did the SEC say, hey, we think XRP might be a security. So then for them later on to go back and say, hey, the whole time we thought XRP was a security, we just didn't tell you. That doesn't feel like a genuine partnership between public sector and private sector. Moreover, and some of this stuff I'll be more vague about because some of this stuff, it hasn't been public yet. But there's something called the Hinman email. Bill Hinman, the director of corporate finance at the SEC, gave a speech in June 2018 about how ETH had been a security, but had magically become not a security. And there's some emails associated with that the judge turned over 6 times. We finally did get those emails. And I think when those come to light, I think you will see more kind of like, how is it possible the SEC decided to bring a case against Ripple, given what they were saying within their own walls?
That is so important. How can the SEC come up and sue Ripple, yet the Hinman emails, who again was director of finance at the SEC, had a speech in 2018, and in that speech he said Ethereum and Bitcoin magically, according to Brad Garlinghouse, from being a security to a non-security, yet he absolutely met with Brad Garlinghouse. Him and Jay Clayton never said it once, and on their way out, they sued. Well, what Ripple really felt was the Hinman emails. It was 62 emails that went back and forth between Bill Hinman and several different members of the SEC about what they felt was a security and wasn't a security. And even though we haven't seen them yet, they haven't been released, there is a lot of rumors saying that XRP back then, they said was not a security. Yet, because they met with the Ethereum Foundation and with Joseph Lubin and Vitalik, and in those meetings, there seems to be some discussion about having clarity for one altcoin, but not the other altcoin. And of course, famously, Bill Hinman received $15 million. The 2 years while he was at the SEC, he received $15 million bonus from his ex-law firm, the law firm that he wasn't there at the time. And he was warned on multiple occasions by the compliance department at the SEC not to have any contact at all any contact with anyone from his former law firm. He did not, he blew that off. The FOIA requests that came in, Freedom of Information Act that came in, that showed that the compliance office was so mad at him about it and multiple times said, stop meeting with them. And we know that he continued to meet with them. He continued to have lunches, continued to have phone calls. This shows that there could be a lot of bad things that went on with the SEC, and that they were picking winners and losers and being paid for it. Now, everyone out there who's freaking out about, is a conspiracy theory from the ETH conspiracy theory, guys, it's all the connect the dots, and it's all sitting at the SEC vault, the him and emails, and it's sitting in a safe in Ripple. And Ripple's already asked the judge to make these public. And that what Brad Gardinghouse said, quote, what was being said about Ripple within the walls of SEC were not consistent about what Bill Hinman had said in that May 2018 speech at the Yahoo Finance conference. Guys, we know that this is probably enormous for all crypto. What the outcome of this is, the only way that this is not going to be a huge outcome for crypto, if there's a settlement. And I definitely feel if the him and emails are released, before their release, there's going to be a settlement, because even though the SEC will probably come out thinking that they smell like roses, as long as XRP is shown, today's XRP, none of it's being sold as a security, it's a commodity, then I think they'll get a settlement down, and the SEC will then turn their sights maybe to Ethereum, or maybe to Cardano, or maybe to that crap coin Solana, any of those VC, pump and dumps. That's when they can go and look at those, not look at legitimate coins that put out quarterly reports, companies that put out quarterly reports about what they're doing in their business. So, all right, let's jump off of that bandwagon and let's jump on to this one. Let me bring in our producer, Emi. Hey, Emi, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I just want to ask you one question.
Okay.
How is your OnlyFans page doing?
I don't do OnlyFans. He's being sarcastic, guys.
Oh, come on!
Not as good as hers, apparently.
Right. I am top OnlyFans creator who sold $30,000 worth of NFTs in 1 month. I love that it gives me ownership of my content, and I don't plan to leave Web3 anytime soon.
I think this is great. This is super great. She's in the top 1% of OnlyFans creators by earnings. Mm-hmm. In just 1 month, she sold her $30,000 worth of NFTs, priced about $250 each. And as she said, she's not leaving.
Of course not. If I'm making $30K a month,
yeah.
Hey, just showing my body off on I don't know if it's nude pics, but whatever, bikini pics.
I think it's interesting that Insider covered this. That's kind of funny.
Yes.
Huh.
Well, what I do like is that she doesn't look like a smash and grab, which she might be a longer living smash and grab. But then again, it's just what the market will hold, right?
Yeah.
We talked about what Sierra, what's her name, who basically had pictures on there, and then she just she sold a bunch of pictures and then got off, and everyone called her a smash and grab.
Yeah.
Sierra,
I forget what her last
Vanessa
name was.
Sierra, I
think you're right.
That. So, but I think I absolutely, hey, if I could sell this bot at $250 a throw and I can make $30K, guys, you wouldn't see me at all. I guarantee you that much. But then again, I don't have blonde hair and I don't have that body.
We could change that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think this is cool. If you are going to be in the OnlyFans and or paid for content space, NFTs and Web3 give you a completely different opportunity, specifically with having ownership of your content. So yeah, this is cool. This is fascinating. I'm with it. Good for you, Gene.
Right. And to me, this is art. When you come down to it, all of us look at art different ways. I'm actually happy that we've evolved out of this whole religion kind of thing where, oh my God, she's wearing bikini pics. She's going to hell. So I think that the evolution of our society has helped this out. And now it isn't so much where, like I said, 3 or 4 months ago, one of the other OnlyFans girls went in and took the pictures and then took the money and then ran after she did her NFT collection. I think staying here, and God bless her, if you can make it any way you can make it, great, as long as it's not illegal.
Yeah, I agree. As long as it's not illegal and you're not hurting anyone,
right?
Good for you.
Right. NFT evolution. If you go on and I'll say this much: if you go on to Twitter, there is literally hundreds and hundreds, and most of them I see out there are female artists out there doing NFTs to survive.
Mm-hmm.
And I've actually talked to several of them. I mean, DM'd them, I'll call it, in Ukraine. That's how they make their money right now.
Yeah.
They find a little hole in the wall, and they put it up on OpenSea or I think it's Manifest, or some of these smaller different marketplaces, and they sell them, they get the money, they turn around, they buy food and whatever.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think that this is now creating other opportunities out there in Web3 for people. And I mean, again, I am all for it. I mean, you can, whether it be, a bikini pic or it be, digital art.
Yeah, I think it's great. And I think we're going to see more of it. And yeah, I'm here for it.
Well, guys, thank you very much for joining us. If you have any comments, please leave them below. Otherwise,
bye.
You guys take care and we'll see you tomorrow.